Disclaimer, I do not dislike CinemaSins, and that is not a lie. For my next Everything Wrong with CinemaSins video, I'm going to be seeing the video on Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, and credit for this idea goes to Grandy Tobias. Enjoy, everyone. To start things off, you forgot the second L in Gillman in the video title, but not in the thumbnail image for this video.
Comcast!
Pointing things out on the screen.
DreamWorks decided to open their masturbatory franchise Flyby with the 2022 instant classic that was The Bad Guys?
Ignoring the inappropriate comment, yes.
Also, and for all time, The Boss Baby.
Except the Boss Baby doesn't appear in the opening logos for Trolls Band Together, which came out before this video, so...
Comcast times 2.
Pointing things out on the screen again.
The ocean is a mysterious world.
Generation Funderation.
Which is needed here so that the movie can tell us that the Krakens in this movie aren't what people usually think they are.
Junior prom is the sacred right of every human teenager.
This expositional dump is all about how important society thinks junior prom is, which is an outstanding waste of animation considering the next 20 minutes are dedicated to exactly the same bullshit.
Well, not entirely, since those 20 minutes also tell us about Ruby and her family, but the part of Ruby talking to Connor does lead into the plot.
Listen, the animation style in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was refreshingly unique and freaking gorgeous, but don't push your f***ing luck, DreamWorks.
He says over a shot of a live-action stuffed animal of Puss in Boots.
This is a make or break moment. I'm selling an entire development.
But Mom, you're
what? Already successful? Already good at your job? Passionate? Aggressively warrior-esque? And shouldn't have a party? This movie is so vague, I genuinely have no idea what the writers intended me to assume.
Well, if you weren't talking over this scene, you know that the movie explains who Agatha is as a real estate warrior.
Also, does Ruby always have this clip ready to go at this exact place in case of expositional emergencies, or is it just when there's an audience to spoon feed?
Probably more so the latter, Jer.
Wow, you two are quite the power couple.
You think that's great? You're looking at the undefeated dodgeball champ.
Have these people just f***ing met? Why are they introducing their hobbies and passions to each other as if this is some sort of corporate ice-breaking exercise?
So that the audience can know who the Gillmans are as characters?
Once Margot was going with Kayla, Trevin said, oh well, should we just go together?
In a shocking story turn, all of Ruby's friends ditched their pledge to ditch prom, so Ruby can feel all the dejected feelings and eventually be peer pressured into disobeying her parents. These people are not your friends, Ruby, and movies should stop telling real-world kids that they are.
Aha, I found a typo. This is your instead of your.
Unless there's a tragic accident.
Giving so few fucks about your movie that your side characters' entire backgrounds are just has colorful hair, likes to game, and is Wednesday Addams.
Except you're showing us that it's not just Margot with colorful hair.
Also, one of the reasons I hate animated movies is that the most mundane idea is animated like it's being delivered by Jim Carrey's love child with Stretch Armstrong.
Okay, but I don't see how that's a point against this movie specifically, so I think I'll give this my award.
I'll go to prom. Step 1, you're going to need a promposal.
How is you saying prom multiple times the sin of this movie?
Also, for a group of people that seem to be designed to hate events like prom, they sure do readily embrace ridiculous traditions like prom posing. Prom posers.
But Ruby's friends don't hate prom because they all want to attend it and want Ruby to join them for prom as well.
I could maybe give this part of the movie a pass, but it really seems like Ruby and friends enter this hallway, and this is not a dream sequence. This is apparently really happening, and that is scary.
Yes, this is not supposed to be a dream sequence.
This kid is jumping out of a trash can disguised as a whale. Are there no limits in this universe?
Yes, because fantasy worlds like this are allowed to have their own rules.
Maybe I abandoned this whole ask your dream guy to prom thing.
Thing I've been asking coming-of-age movies to do since the 80s finally makes it into a movie, but is ultimately ignored.
Well, sorry it hasn't gone your way, man.
Kids.
Nah, it's more so coming from Margot being a drama student.
I spot little Mr. Skater Boy here.
His skateboard sank into the water. How did she know he was a skater? I mean, he is, but she couldn't have known that.
Well, considering the fact that Chelsea is a mermaid, she likely saw Connor's skateboard in the water when she rescued him.
This closed library's doors are still unlocked.
Well, yeah, since the librarian is there.
No one is crushed to death in this scene.
And aside from the librarian being the only other person there, the movie does show that she was able to safely get out of there.
She's coming for me!
This guy's first instinct is to record himself rather than visual proof that a massive Kraken exists.
But the movie does later show that he did record Ruby, so...
No one is crushed to death in this scene either. I want to see death!
Wishing Ruby killed someone. That's worth these many sins.
You were saying you wanted a built-in grill, and that is built in.
Oh man, I get to be grill master again?
We've been introduced to 2 adult men so far, both of whom can be characterized as liking to grill.
Yeah, so what's the problem here?
Grill?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I be?
I just hit you with a car.
I guess Brill probably used some fishy instincts to find Agatha, but why did he decide to hide under a bunch of leaves and risk her finding him by way of a hideous car accident that could have killed her?
I agree with the second part of this sin, but for the first part, the movie answers that by saying that Brill and Grandmama felt Ruby's pulse, and so Brill was sent by Grandmama to get Ruby.
This is exactly why she wasn't supposed to go into the ocean.
Then why would you live next to it?
Brill would be Wetzelin at CinemaSins.
Actually, Agatha answers that by saying they needed to stay moist.
Do you remember when you found that whale on the beach?
You mean Clarence J. Whifferton?
How could I forget?
Probably because it's a stupid-ass nickname that the movie thinks is endearing through sheer randomness alone instead of trying to be legitimately funny or clever.
Well, that's just how you feel about it, so I'll give this my award as well.
Yes! I'm normal.
Fortunately, this transformation comes equipped with some sort of marsupial honor pocket, so that all Ruby's clothes can be stored perfectly dry and then reapplied when she returns to normal size.
But that's happened in other movies as well, and since this movie has similarities to Turning Red, I'll use May as an example of that.
I turned into a giant kraken too.
What? What? You knew?
Yep, she knew all along and still decided to live by the sea.
Yeah, because they needed to stay moist, like I said earlier.
If you stay on dry land, you'll stay small and on two legs.
Unless you're in a library, though, I guess. Or was that transformation an emotionally triggered release that Mom somehow knows nothing about? What are the rules?
Well, it's technically both, since Ruby's emotions were shown to transform her, similar to both May's red panda form and Luca's sea monster form. And also, like Randy Tamaya's pointed out, you label Agatha as Mom here, and forgot to capitalize the first M in Mom on your white text.
Clarence J. Whifferton! I'm so glad you made it!
I told you before, that's not my name, asshole. So if it's only the women that turn into a giant kraken and the men all stay comparatively small, how do they, mingle tentacles? Or how big are those freaking eggs that the men have to, sprinkle?
Well, that's not going to be explained here because, like I've said before, animated family movies don't discuss things like sex.
Earlier, I said this movie is a coming-of-age story, and now she's swimming in semen. And I didn't see that coming.
Jimmy makes an inappropriate comment cliche.
The women in our family have been gifted the mighty power to turn into giant kraken.
How did that happen? What evolutionary advantage is there in being able to take on a loosely bipedal form in the event of a 15-year land-based temper tantrum?
Well, that's not really important to the story that we're being told here, and the runtime would just get slowed down if the film tried explaining it.
What's up with this floaty trophy room with defeated monsters? Are they dead and stuff?
This is supposed to be a room that shows models of sea monsters that the Krakens fought in the past, as Grandmama explains to Ruby here.
Mermaids are selfish, vain narcissists with mediocre hair.
Pot, meat, kettle much? Why does this kingdom have entire rooms dedicated to visual assists for this story?
Aside from real-world palaces also having this is also here so that the audience and Ruby can get context and backstory on this kingdom.
You are not a human who turns into a kraken. You're a kraken hiding as a human.
Semantics.
So you're giving this movie a sin based on a pun you made?
Bye, Clarence.
Still not my name, kid.
Still strange singing quality.
Kraken ahoy! Hi! Fly, me beauties!
Captain Ahab here is definitely being painted as the bad guy, but why? He's trying to rid the seas of a kraken that he knows destroyed the library and has every reason to believe is a threat to the people of Oceanside.
But remember, Gordon is only doing this to show Oceanside the Krakens exist, not to be seen by them as a good guy.
Because I'm a mother flippin' mermaid.
But why does she have the ability to grow legs? Why is the ocean creating these so very oddly specific monstrosities?
Well, what the movie seems to have said is that Chelsea can transform into a human when she is on land, kind of like Luca and Alberto.
Surprise! It's a bomb!
Ballsy cold open to the shareholders meeting that took place immediately after this movie's opening weekend somehow makes it into the script.
But the fact that this movie wasn't marketed well and bombed at the box office isn't a fault of the movie, so I'll be giving this my award as well.
You need
A Super Sea-Girl Ditch Day! Okay, let's do it.
It is mere hours after her grandmother told her about how evil mermaids are and how her own mother fought in a war against them, and yet Ruby is ready to ditch school and become besties with the first mermaid she meets.
Well, when you ignore the fact that Chelsea showed Ruby she was trustworthy earlier, yeah, this sin makes sense.
This bread is f***ing thick!
I mean, bread can be thick in the real world, so what's the problem here?
Show me how to use my powers. Oh,
I thought you'd never ask.
It's time for a Rocky-esque training montage, which pulls double duty by being unoriginal and completely missing the point. The training montages are supposed to be about seeing the hero conquer adversity. It's hard to root for Ruby when we all know her dumbass is helping the villain.
While Ruby is technically trying to overcome adversity to get the trident, this montage is more so her learning how to use her Kraken powers, so...
There once was a ship that put to sea.
Trying to trick-talk your young audience into liking your movie.
Well, regardless of something like this, people can still have their own different opinions, so no one's being tricked into liking this movie.
I sacrificed everything to give you this fake life.
Expecting your child or anyone to be grateful for a sacrifice they didn't ask you to make.
Well, considering the fact that Agatha made a sacrifice to give Ruby a life, being her mom, yeah, she should be grateful for that, Jeremy.
I fight for my family.
Skip.
Well, without this, we wouldn't know that things haven't been easy for Agatha since she chose to live a new life at Oceanside.
Lucky for me, mermaids don't age.
Unluckily for you, that won't stop me from saying how f***ing convenient that happens to be for the purposes of your make everyone think I'm my own daughter plan.
Well, I wouldn't call this a convenience because since that's an ability she has, she could easily decide to make herself look younger on land.
I could never understand why she chose to leave the ocean.
I've spent less than 80 minutes with you, dude, and I can already see why she left.
No, it was because of Nerissa that Agatha left the ocean.
Some of this beautiful animation deserves to be in a movie I don't hate.
Well, even if you don't like this movie, which you confirmed, you probably should still remove us in here since you like this shot.
Got us a little mermaid, Davy.
But she's still super powerful, right? The trident was a powerful weapon, sure, but she's still a giant kaiju of a beast, so why did she suddenly transform back into a tiny mermaid?
Well, the trident had power when she transformed earlier, so it's probably because of the trident being destroyed and out of power now.
I think you can still make the last dance.
After this horrible tragedy in which many people absolutely must have died, the dance is still going? What?
And the prom is probably still going because no one died and Ruby saved everyone on the boat from drowning.
Now we're in the deep blue f***ity f*** did this dress come from?
Cartoon logic, Jer.
OMG, are you live streaming? Oh, my hair is terrible.
Now to
How many likes are we getting though?
This would have made sense if Nerissa was actually a vapid teenager, but she was pretending so she'd blend in, right?
Aha, found another typo. You misspelled Nerissa here just like you did earlier on in this video.
The ocean will always need a Kraken, and a Kraken will always answer the call.
Unless poor word of mouth results in no one coming to see their movie, in which case the call will kind of just get forgotten about.
Well, the fact that this movie bombed doesn't mean it's bad, and I think it's a great movie, though far from DreamWorks' best. And for another example, that can also apply to the 3 Pixar movies that went straight to Disney Plus and are finally getting theater treatment. I love all 3. And here's the end result, everybody. This in total was 304, and the sentence will be captured by Gordon. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have a nice day.